Hello guys, welcome to End Time Lessons, End Time Prophecy Lessons from home, basically, KAC, Kingston Alliance Church. Again, like everybody knows, in case some other are watching, we've been doing this since the COVID lockdown. Now it's opening again, but we haven't had a chance to get back into church. We are doing church on Sundays, so you're all welcome to come if you feel safe. There's room on Sunday, but Thursday evening lessons we've still been doing them online only. I know some of you really want to go get back, but I got some news there. I think tonight is probably going to be the last one before the summer. So we've discussed with a few people at church, and including Paul, and I think we decided it's good to give people a break. I love doing those, but it's good to give people a break. And but also there's some major events that are coming, so I might actually send an email. I have all of you guys' email, so I might send an email at one point and say, hey, we're gonna do an update because there's something big, major that happened, or I'll just send some info. Basically, one big thing that's coming is 1st of July. The annexation of Israel is going to be allowed. Basically, Netanyahu is going to be allowed to bring this to the Knesset in Israel on the 1st of July. So that's coming soon. And the great thing about the peace, because that's coming from the peace plan that Donald Trump has prepared for 2-3 years, basically. The great thing about this plan is both sides don't need to agree. If you are compliant to the agreement, you're allowed to start doing your own thing. Soon as the other side is compliant, they can do their own thing as well. So it's a very smart way to, wise way to do it, so that we don't have to wait, or one side, as soon as one side is compliant with the agreement, basically, it can start doing its implementation of the peace plan. So instead of waiting back and forth and trying to negotiate everything, so basically that's what's happening right now on 1st of July. So we'll see what happens. There's a couple of things that happened this week in regards to this, in reference with this. So, but this is the big thing happening about prophecy updates, basically, in Israel. Well, welcome to Bud and Alina. I guess if you're online with us, you can say hi, say hello, Ian, and Abel World from Plus Library. Yes, it is. Yes, it's from the End of the Age Plus library. I think that's what you meant, the streaming service. Hello to Paul as well. Yes, so I'll take advantage of this opportunity to give you a a little promotion of the Age Plus. There is a free trial still, so they extended this. I'm pretty sure, anyway, last time I checked, they extended this, so it's 14 days free trial, all materials available. So during the summer, basically, it would be good, since we're gonna stop those lessons for the summer, probably come back in September. So tonight there's gonna be a shorter one too, so it's a light one, a shorter one. But it's very good. It's one of the last major things that happened, and it's described pretty well. You might know about this already, but it's the video that describes it all. So the first step to Armageddon. Also, so basically what I was gonna say is End of the Age Plus. If you go to endtimes.com, you're gonna get a link to End of the Age Plus. So it's a great opportunity to join, basically, with that free trial. And then if you want to pay, it's very cheap. I think it's only $12 a month. Then you'll have videos all summer, so as much as you want, and including the JPC and stuff like that. So enough of that for that promotion. I can basically, what I was gonna do is End of the Age. Another thing, if you want to my gonna bring that video in there. It's from my own. This one is just, it's on the end of the Age Plus as well, but I actually have it in my library here, so I'm just gonna quickly find it, not find it, but make sure it's ready to stream, and we're gonna go on. So don't hesitate again. Don't tell me there was no volume. Paul. Sorry about that, guys. When I switched to the other scene, I guess I forgot to put the volume on. That's my OBS. It's not like I don't do it enough. But sorry about that. So basically, what I was saying is because of the because of all the summer, there are a few ways to get in touch, that get updates via my End Time 1000, well, the End Time 1000 group. Just mention my name while you're answering the questions. There are 2,600 people waiting to be approved, so there's a lot of work that the moderators are doing. So basically, just mention my name. There's going to be a few questions there. You just answer like, how did you find out about End Time 1000 or Irvin Baxter? You just say, Pascal, I'm part with the group with Pascal or something like that, and then you'll be approved fairly quick. So one way to keep updated. The other one is endtime.com, End of the Age Plus streaming service. Then you'll have all the videos. And then if you subscribe to endtime.com, Endtime Ministries YouTube channel, you will be able to get a daily show. Basically, you're going to be able to watch updates every day. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So they have a YouTube channel and a Facebook channel. So Endtime Ministries. So you'll get notification if you like them or subscribe to their channel. Okay, sorry about that again. I messed up with my scene earlier, but I think I repeated pretty much everything I was saying. So we'll go on and put the video on, and hopefully you enjoy. Don't forget to ask questions in the live chat. Okay.
First step to Armageddon, December 23rd, 2016. On December 23rd, 2016, the world took its first giant step toward the Battle of Armageddon. The UN adopted Resolution 2334, declaring Israel's presence in East Jerusalem, and I quote, a flagrant violation of international law. However, in 1980, Israel annexed East Jerusalem, declaring all of Jerusalem as its eternal undivided capital. So, who will back down? The United Nations or Israel? The answer is neither. To maintain its credibility, the UN will have to someday enforce Resolution 2334. The actions of the UN Security Council on December 23, 2016 concerning Jerusalem will ultimately lead to the invasion of Israel by the world community. This invasion is specifically prophesied in the Bible. The prophecy states in Zechariah 14, verse 2, "For I will gather all nations against Jerusalem to battle." The resulting war between Israel and the UN will be the apocalyptic battle called Armageddon. We need to understand some of the history. Jerusalem became Israel's capital around 1000 BC when King David conquered the city of Jebus, the home of the Jebusites. He moved Israel's capital from Hebron to Jebus, changing the name of the city to Jerusalem. Jerusalem served as Israel's capital for the next 1070 years. King David, Israel's most famous king, called Jerusalem my chief joy. In Psalms 137, 5 through 6, he said, "If I forget thee, O Jerusalem, let my right hand forget her cunning. If I do not remember thee, let my tongue cleave to the roof of my mouth. If I prefer not Jerusalem above my chief joy." Israel's first temple was built by King Solomon, King David's son. He built Israel's first temple on the Temple Mount in Jerusalem. When it was finished in 968 BC, God said to Solomon, this is 1 Kings 9:3, "I have hallowed this house which thou hast built to put my name there forever, and mine eyes and my heart shall be there perpetually." Quite a decree. When Solomon prayed the prayer of dedication, fire fell from heaven. The account is 2 Chronicles 7, 1 through 3. Let's listen to it. Now, when Solomon had made an end of praying, the fire came down from heaven and consumed the burnt offering and the sacrifices, and the glory of the Lord filled the house. And the priest could not enter into the house of the Lord, because the glory of the Lord had filled the Lord's house. And when all the children of Israel saw how the fire came down and the glory of the Lord upon the house, they bowed themselves with their faces to the ground upon the pavement and worshiped and praised the Lord, saying, "For he is good, for his mercy endureth forever." Now, not only did God say he would put his name in the temple, but he also said he would put his name in Jerusalem forever. 1 Kings 11:36 records this. "And unto his son will I give one tribe, that David my servant may have a light always before me in Jerusalem, the city which I have chosen to put my name there." Remember that. God chose to put his name in Jerusalem. Now, jumping ahead through time, Jesus came, he was rejected by the Jewish people, and now we find him prophesying the destruction of the city of Jerusalem. The account is Luke 19:41 through 44. "And when he was come near, he beheld the city and wept over it, saying, If thou hadst known, even thou, at least in this thy day, the things which belong unto thy peace. But now they are hid from thine eyes. For the days shall come upon thee, that thine enemies shall cast a trench about thee, and compass thee round, and keep thee in on every side, and shall lay thee even with the ground, and thy children within thee. And they shall not leave in thee one stone upon another, because thou knewest not the time of thy visitation." Jesus said this would happen because the Jews had rejected the coming of their Messiah. Jerusalem was destroyed by the Romans in 70 AD, fulfilling this prophecy of Jesus. After this, the name of Israel was changed to Palestine. The Roman Emperor Hadrian changed the name of Israel to Palestine in 132 AD. The Jews were forbidden from being in Jerusalem and then driven into exile by the Roman Emperor Hadrian in 135 AD. That began 1,878 years of Jewish exile. The Jewish people were sifted through the nations for the next 1,900 years, almost 2,000 years. They retained their identity by not intermarrying. They never forgot Jerusalem. Religious Jews prayed 3 times each day, facing Jerusalem, asking God to return them to Jerusalem and to allow the rebuilding of their temple there. The parting salutation of Jews during the exile was next year in Jerusalem. In the late 1800s, a man by the name of Theodor Herzl, who became known as the father of the modern state of Israel, began to campaign for the restoration of Israel as a nation. During his time, he reached a conclusion that there was simply no cure for anti-Semitism. The Jews had been plagued by this for the last 2,000 years. Consequently, he devoted his life to promoting the founding of a Jewish homeland in Palestine, used to be Israel. A day before his death from heart disease, he told his friend, the Reverend William H. Heckler, "Greet Palestine for me. I gave my heart's blood for the people." In his will, Herzl stipulated, "I wish to be buried in the vault beside my father and to lie there till the Jewish people shall take my remains to Israel." In 1949, his remains were moved from Vienna to be reburied on the top of Mount Herzl in Jerusalem, named in his memory. Now, backing up for just a moment, the Ottoman Empire had controlled the land of Israel, now known as Palestine, from 1516 AD until 1918 AD. The Ottoman Empire, led by Turkey, was defeated in World War I. Lord Allenby, the British general, defeated the Turks at the Battle of Megiddo. Allenby actually thought he was fighting the Battle of Armageddon at that time. He was even given the name Lord of Armageddon. Now, after the conclusion of World War I, Britain had ascended as the most powerful factor in the region. And at that time, they issued what was called the Balfour Declaration. The Balfour Declaration was a letter dated November the 2nd, 1917, from the United Kingdom's Foreign Secretary Arthur James Balfour to Walter Rothschild, 2nd Baron Rothschild, a leader of the British Jewish community, for transmission to the Zionist Federation of Great Britain and Ireland. It read, "His Majesty's government view with favor the establishment in Palestine of a national home for the Jewish people, and will use their best endeavors to facilitate the achievement of this object, it being clearly understood that nothing shall be done which may prejudice the civil and religious rights of existing non-Jewish communities in Palestine, or the rights and political status enjoyed by Jews in other countries." This declared that the entire area of Palestine should be a Jewish homeland. Well, shortly after this, after the war was over, there was a conference at San Remo, and at the San Remo conference, they adopted the Balfour Declaration. That happened April of 1920. The San Remo Conference was an international meeting held following the conclusion of World War I that determined the precise boundaries for territories captured by the Allies. At San Remo, the Allies confirmed the pledge contained in the Balfour Declaration concerning the establishment of a Jewish national home in Palestine. At San Remo, 51 nations voted unanimously to accept the Balfour Declaration. This gave the Balfour Declaration the force of international law. And then at the Treaty of Sèvres, they adopted the Balfour Declaration. The treaty was with the Ottoman Empire, with Turkey. This happened on August the 10th of 1920. Article 95, the high contracting parties agree to entrust, by application of the provisions of Article 22, the administration of Palestine within such boundaries as may be determined by the principal Allied powers to a mandatory to be selected by the powers. The mandatory will be responsible for putting into effect the declaration originally made on November the 2nd, 1917 by the British government and adopted by the other Allied powers in favor of the establishment in Palestine of a national home for the Jewish people, it being clearly understood that nothing shall be done which may prejudice the civil and religious rights of existing non-Jewish communities in Palestine or the rights and political status enjoyed by Jews in any other country. So we see again and again and again, they are reaffirming that the land of Palestine has now been devoted to create a home for the Jews after almost 2,000 years. In the meantime, the country of Jordan was created east of the Jordan River. The Cairo Conference of March the 21st was convened by Winston Churchill, then Britain's Colonel Secretary. The Hashemites were associated powers with Britain during World War I. To repay them for their loyalty, Churchill offered the throne of Iraq to Emir Fazl ibn Hussein, who became Fazl I of Iraq, and Transjordan, now known as Jordan, to his brother Abdullah ibn Hussein, who became Abdullah I of Jordan. Jordan took away 77% of the original area of the Balfour Declaration. Well, then the League of Nations adopted the Balfour Declaration. The draft of the mandate for Palestine was formally confirmed by the Council of the League of Nations on the 24th of July of 1922. All of these conferences, all of these international entities reaffirming that all of the area from the Mediterranean Sea to the Jordan River should make up the new Jewish state which was to be formed. Now, in the meantime, Exodus 2 happened. Exodus 1 being the Exodus from Egypt, in the time when the children of Israel left Egyptian bondage to make their way to the Promised Land. Now, here we are, after 2,000 years of exile, Exodus 2 begins. After 6 million Jews perished in World War II and Hitler's horrible Holocaust, Jewish people from around the world were seized with a compulsion to go home to their Promised Land. Jewish people were pleading with world leaders to establish a homeland for the Jewish people in the land of Israel. However, the Arabs were fighting viciously against this possibility. Finally, on November the 29th of 1947, the United Nations took a vote to establish an Arab homeland and a Jewish homeland. It was on November 29, 1947, the UN General Assembly voted to partition the territory called Palestine into a state for the Jews and a state for the Arabs. Now they're going to shrink the Jewish homeland even further. This decision was made by UN Resolution 181. Now notice, this decision was a direct violation of already established international law. However, the Jews were so desperate to have a home after 2,000 years, they accepted the partition plan. But the Arabs rejected it. They didn't want a homeland. They just wanted to obliterate the Jewish people. Well, the Jews were so happy to have a homeland that they accepted the partition plan, even though their part did not nearly include all of the territory of the biblical Promised Land. It didn't even include all of the territory from the Mediterranean to the Jordan River. The Arabs rejected the partition plan, choosing to wage war against the fledgling Jewish state in an attempt to eradicate it before it could breathe its first breath. Finally, on May the 14th of 1948, the British pulled out of their mandate completely, turning everything over to the United Nations, and Israel realized they were at risk. So that same day, Israel declared its independence, saying the name of our state will now be known as Israel. Now, the British mandate had ruled the Palestinian territories since World War I. The British ended this mandate on May the 14th. This forced Israel to declare independence that same day. 5 Arab nations attacked Israel the very next day. The War of Independence was on. Israel's population at the time was only 600,000. Egypt, Lebanon, Syria, Jordan, and Iraq launched attacks against the newborn nation. Miraculously, Israel retained the territory of the UN partition plan, even gaining an additional 5,000 square kilometers. A ceasefire agreement with Jordan was concluded on April 3rd, 1949. It stated that the ceasefire line should not be considered the permanent border. No provision of this agreement shall in any way prejudice the rights, claims, and positions of either party hereto in the ultimate peaceful settlement of the Palestine question, the provisions of this agreement being dictated exclusively by military considerations. Jordanian forces remained in most positions held by them, particularly East Jerusalem, which included the Old City. Jordan continued to occupy East Jerusalem and the West Bank from 1949 to 1967. On May 16, 1967, Egyptian President Nasser shocked the world by asking the United Nations to withdraw its forces from Sinai that had separated Israel from Egypt. To the surprise of many, his request was honored 2 days later. Moreover, the Egyptian president closed the Straits of Tiran on May the 22nd, which of course was an act of war. Sensing that war was now likely, King Hussein aligned Jordan firmly with Egypt, suggesting an Egyptian-Jordanian mutual defense treaty. Nasser immediately accepted the idea, and the treaty was signed on May 30th. When the war began, Jordan attacked Israel. Israel counterattacked, driving Jordan out of East Jerusalem and the area of Judea, Samaria, the West Bank. In 6 short days, Israel captured the Sinai in the south from Egypt, the Golan Heights in the north from Syria, and the entire West Bank, all the way to the Jordan River, the area Jordan had illegally occupied 19 years before that. Israel had virtually conquered the entirety of the British Mandate that had originally been promised to Israel by the Balfour Declaration in 1917. I want to pause just a moment to tell you about our exciting Armageddon collection. What does the term Armageddon mean? Why is it so important in Bible prophecy and the last days? And what will happen between now and then? In our Armageddon collection, we cover subjects such as events of the final 7 years, the revealing of the Antichrist, the mark of the beast, and the world's greatest revival just ahead. In this special collection, you will receive the DVD, Seeds to Armageddon, November 29, 2012, our 8-lesson series, From Here to Armageddon, along with a printout of our 7-year timeline, and our DVD, First Step to Armageddon, December 23, 2016. All of this for your gift of $140 or more, plus the cost of shipping and handling. To order your Armageddon collection, go to endtime.com or call 1-800-END-TIME. That's 1-800-363-8463. UN Resolution 242 was adopted on November the 22nd of 1967. This particular resolution called for a just and lasting peace, which should include the application of both the following principles: withdrawal of Israeli armed forces from the, quote, territories occupied in the recent conflict. 2, termination of all claims or states of belligerency, and respect for and acknowledgement of the sovereignty, territorial integrity, and political independence of every state in the area, and their right to live in peace within secure and recognized boundaries, free from threats or acts of force. Israel contends that territories did not mean all territories, since the second principle specifically states that each state should live within secure and recognized boundaries. Israelis contend that the boundaries, leaving them 9 miles wide at the waist, could not possibly be considered secure boundaries. So the question is, territories or the territories? Lord Caradon, chief author of Resolution 242, contends that territories instead of the territories was purposely used to acknowledge that the pre-1967 borders were not secure, and therefore new borders would have to be negotiated. Caradon said, "I know the 1967 border very well. It is not a satisfactory border. It is where troops had to stop in 1948, just where they happened to be the night of the ceasefire. That is not a permanent boundary." Does UN Resolution 242 call for return to 1967 borders? Arthur J. Goldberg, another of the resolution's drafters, concurred that Resolution 242 does not dictate the extent of the withdrawal and added that this matter should be negotiated between the two parties. Does Resolution 242, as unanimously adopted by the UN Security Council, require the withdrawal of Israeli armed forces from all of the territories occupied by Israel during the 1967 war? The answer is no. In the resolution, the words "the" and "all" are omitted. Resolution 242 calls for the withdrawal of Israeli armed forces from territories occupied in the 1967 conflict without specifying the extent of the withdrawal. If the resolution is ambiguous, and purposely so, on this crucial issue, how is the withdrawal issue to be settled? By direct negotiations between the concerned parties. Now, many peace efforts have been made in the last 50 years since the 1967 war. There was the Egypt-Israel Peace Treaty of 1979. There was the treaty between Israel and Jordan in 1994. There were negotiations with the Palestinians at the Oslo Accords in 1993. There was the Wye River Memorandum of 1998. And then the 2000 Camp David Summit between Yasser Arafat and Ehud Barak, moderated by Bill Clinton. Then in 2003, the Roadmap for Peace was put together by the Quartet. 2008, Ehud Olmert, at that time the Prime Minister of Israel, made a very generous peace offer. And then in 2011, the UN Security Council denied Palestinian membership in the UN, saying you're not a state. Then in 2012, the UN General Assembly voted to recognize Palestine as a non-member state. Then 2013, 2014, Barack Obama and John Kerry went on a peace blitz for 9 months. It all failed. Now, backing up a few years, on May the 19th of 2009, President Obama made a speech endorsing the 1967 borders, much to the chagrin of Benjamin Netanyahu and the Israelis. Here's what he said, and I quote, "We believe the borders of Israel and Palestine should be based on the 1967 lines with mutually agreed swaps so that secure and recognized borders are established for both states." UN Resolution 242 said borders should be negotiated. 1967 borders were not defensible. Some even call them suicide borders. Well, in 2015, the American White House threatened to withhold its veto from protecting Israel at the UN. Here's an actual quote. The White House on Wednesday suggested it could reverse its decades-old policy of using its veto in the United Nations Security Council to protect Israel. It could refuse to veto resolutions related to the Palestinians or introduce a measure of its own. That was the Wall Street Journal on March the 19th of 2015. Well, they made good on that threat. on December the 23rd of 2016. Now the election is over. Hillary Clinton has been defeated. Barack Obama doesn't have to run for an office again, so he's going to do what he wants to do. I call it Obama's revenge. After 8 years of rancor between President Obama and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, Barack Obama finally got his revenge. Once the election was settled, Obama did what he had been itching to do throughout his presidency. On December 23rd, 2016, the UN Security Council passed Resolution 2334, and Obama didn't vote no, which was a virtual vote yes, because it allowed this resolution to pass. What about UN Security Council Resolution 2334? Here's what it said. 1, it reaffirms the establishment by Israel of settlements in the Palestinian territory occupied since 1967, including East Jerusalem, has no legal validity and constitutes a flagrant violation under international law and a major obstacle to the achievement of the two-state solution and a just, lasting, and comprehensive peace. So what did it say? Item number 1 of UN Security Council resolution, let's listen to it. The resolution 2334, passed on December the 23rd, 2016, clearly states that Israel's presence in East Jerusalem is illegal and is a flagrant violation of international law. This is in spite of the fact that Israel adopted it, annexed it, and adopted it as its undivided capital way back in 1980. Okay, let me pause a moment to tell you about a document very few people have heard of. It's called the Jerusalem Covenant. Way back in 1993, when they were negotiating the Oslo Peace Accords, Israel understood that the status of Jerusalem would become challenged. Therefore, most of the high officials of Israel got together and they adopted a document called the Jerusalem Covenant. And it stated, way back in 1993, we will never allow Jerusalem to be divided again, and we will never surrender Jerusalem. It is the eternal, undivided capital of the state of Israel. I actually have a copy of the Jerusalem Covenant in my office. Okay, but the Bible prophesies the UN will invade Jerusalem. The prophecy of Zechariah, chapter 14, verse 2 through 3, foretells the invasion of Jerusalem by the international forces of the United Nations to enforce Resolution 2334. Listen to it. God speaking, "For I will gather all nations against Jerusalem to battle, and the city shall be taken, and the houses rifled, and the women ravished, and half of the city shall go forth into captivity, and the residue of the people shall not be cut off from the city." Listen, "Then shall the Lord go forth and fight against those nations as when he fought in the day of battle." The UN invasion of Israel to enforce Resolution 2334 will trigger the second coming of Jesus. The UN invasion of Jerusalem will be Armageddon. The prophecy of Revelation 16:16 identifies this invasion of Jerusalem by all nations as the Battle of Armageddon. Here's what it says. "And he gathered them together into a place called in the Hebrew tongue Armageddon." Ladies and gentlemen, make no mistake. The world took its first fateful step toward the Battle of Armageddon on December 23rd, 2016. Our final question. Armageddon. How soon? Will Armageddon happen today or tomorrow or next month? No. The fulfillment of the Armageddon prophecy is at least several years away. But December 23rd, 2016 will forever go down in infamy as the day the world took the irrevocable step toward the eventual invasion of the city of Jerusalem. Let me tell you once again about our exciting Armageddon collection. What does the term Armageddon mean? Why is it so important in Bible prophecy and the last days? And what will happen between now and then? In our Armageddon collection, we cover subjects such as events of the final 7 years, the revealing of the Antichrist, the mark of the beast, and the world's greatest revival just ahead. In this collection, you will receive the DVD, Seeds to Armageddon, November 29, 2012. Our 8-lesson series, From Here to Armageddon, along with a printout of our beautiful 7-year timeline. And our DVD, First Step to Armageddon, December 23rd, 2016. All of this for your gift of $140 or more, plus the cost of shipping and handling. To order your Armageddon collection, go to endtime.com or call 1-800-END-TIME. That's 1-800-363-8463. If I were you, I'd do it right now.
Okay, so that was it. That was a little shorter today, so I'll take advantage of repeating a little bit of what I've said earlier with no sound because I messed up my scene. I was using another scene of OBS and messed up with no sound. So basically, what I was saying also earlier, this is gonna be the last one before the summer. So we chatted, we decided give people a break, then they'll be happy to get a quick break, and then the people that couldn't join, maybe they'll join in the fall, feeling that they're joining something new again from the start. So in the fall, well, lately we've been doing like single videos of different videos that are available, lessons that are available. In the fall we'll start a few series. I'll probably do 2 per week. One is going to be the understanding the end time, because it's the basic, and people that didn't go through it yet, on Sunday morning probably at church will do that as well, and on Thursday night probably will be new series. There's a bunch of series, and I didn't really want to start a big series before the summer, so that's why we did individual videos. So thanks a lot again for everyone to show up tonight. A quick one about the this summer, End of the Age Plus from endtime.com. If you want, all those videos are available there. For 14 days it's free. Subscribe and then it's free, and then if you like it, you can keep going. End Time Ministries YouTube channel. You're gonna get a daily show that a lot of people are watching. You can listen and ask questions, and you can chat as well, ask questions on the chat as well, like people are chatting online, and Irvin or Dave Robbins, which is his son-in-law, will answer questions, sometimes depending on if they don't have too many callers, they'll answer from Facebook and stuff like that. And also the End Time 1000 Facebook group. It's kind of a bit of a not personal promotion, but basically the way I went about that group, just so you know, at first I was gonna do End Time 1000 is very specific to Irvin Baxter's vision. Basically, I won't get into this. If you go on my on the group, there is a link and it's explained. So JPC is the Jerusalem Prophecy College that you can take, that's offered online, also from End Time Ministries, which all the videos are actually on the stream service, but you won't go through the college, so you won't be answering the questions and get graded and then get a certificate. You have all the videos available, but if you join the JPC, you're gonna get a certificate with the questions and answers. You're gonna get quizzes and answer the quiz, and then go to the next lesson and stuff like that, like a real college basically. Once you complete this, basically that was a bit of the part of the End Time 1000 name. So the way I went about it is, and I talked to them, and I think they thought it was a good idea. So I opened it up so that the people that complete or that have understanding of the prophecies basically have a safe place, because basically all the moderators are all part of the End Time 1000 or the JPC and stuff like that. So basically it's a safe space, a place to be able to witness to people. If I did not open it, I thought I would be potentially missing on the opportunity to witness to other people using those instructions. So that's the way I thought it was a good idea, basically, to not only come together as a group of, but also be able to witness. So we opened it to people that are interested and want to know more. So it's a safe place that you practice your witnessing using the prophecy, and then when you go down to down the streets, you're able to witness a little better. You have some experience witnessing using the prophecies and turning every conversation into a godly conversation, basically bringing people closer to the Lord. That's the whole goal. And eliminate fear. Obviously, prophecies are there for us to gain understanding, so that we don't fear what's coming, and we gain great faith in the Bible, because when we see everything that's written in the Bible was everything that's happening in the world was prophesied in the Bible, it's very easy to increase your faith. So this is pretty much it for tonight. Thanks a lot for all of you to show up. Again, I will, that's the last lesson, but I have all of your emails. There are some major, potential major prophecy development that could happen this summer. So we'll email, and if I have to do another chat like that, come online and talk about it, talk about some stuff, or do a new video maybe. Or if I see that there is a show that you might have missed that explained everything that just happened, for example, if the peace agreement was to be signed, then I'm sure End Time Ministries would have a video. So I'd probably send everybody the link to watch this and stuff like that. So we'll keep in touch during the summer, but there's probably not going to be any videos from the lessons like we've been doing so far. So September, let's say, take 2 months off, enjoy the summer, and if you want to know more and come back in the fall with more questions or whatever, we'll start new lessons, new series in the fall. So thanks a lot for all of you to joining us. I will close in prayer, and then we're gonna let you go. Thank you, Lord, for all your prophecies. Thank you for all people that have been so grateful to produce all those lessons and to help us understand what you had for us. Thank you for your Bible. Thank you for the wisdom that you provide through your Holy Spirit, my Lord. May you increase our understanding so that we can use those tools again to witness, my Lord, because that's our whole plan, is to witness and bring people closer to you. So may you help us, may you give us strength and boldness, and give us the right words for each occasion and situation that we're in, my Lord, so that we can witness the right way and we can bring people, help fulfill your great plan, my Lord. So I want to pray all this in Jesus' name. Okay, I'm gonna shout there to people. Yeah, come past this year. Yeah, hopefully. So basically, we're in the prophecy world. Basically, we've been looking at this peace plan for a little bit, and it looks like everything is included in that peace plan that President Trump has put together. We never know. It needs to be confirmed with many, and many, which is the EU probably, or the United Nations, are getting involved right now. So it looks like it could be it. We'll see how it develops, because the Antichrist basically will be part of the confirmation of that peace agreement. So we've pretty much always thought that Trump's peace agreement might not be the final draft, but it will certainly probably be a template that the UN and our EU will put together a plan and bless, and then that's when it's gonna all basically begin this last 7 years before the Battle of Armageddon. But when in doubt, if you see the temple again, as we saw before, if you see the temple getting built, it's a big sign that yes, we are in the first 3.5 years before basically the abomination of desolation, which will trigger the Great Tribulation. So thank you, Paul, and we'll see you on Sundays. That's true. So for the KAC, Kingston Alliance Church, see you on Sunday. There's room for you to come in. We've been like 30, 35 for the last 2 Sundays, and we're allowed to 75. Sitting comfortably with social distancing is about 65. So there's room if you feel comfortable coming to church, Kingston Alliance Church. You can come, and what will be online as well. Pastor Paul is going to be preaching. I think it's his last before the summer, or one more after. But so see you on Sunday, and no problem, Alina. Hopefully you have a great summer as well. See you.